Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's talk right about it. Let's talk about the real facts or what we know because this is absolutely crazy. But after I did the little amount of thinking, things started to unravel. So we're going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So, a day ago, now I'm going to tell you something very interesting about this particular post and why I had to pull this up as a picture and not the original tweet because we'll be going through the actual tweets before. So, the Twitter page, Kirko, put out a tweet. This is where I saw it. Now, many people are talking about this is where I saw it. All right. Pusha T and Jay-Z are named alongside Harvey Weinstein in a 2019 FBI crisis intake. Remember that, FBI crisis intake report that was released today as part of the latest Epstein-related document disclosures by the U.S. Department of Justice. There are reported, the report reflects allegations as relayed by a caller. And now I can't click any more of this because guess what happened to this original tweet before we get into it? It's gone. It's gone. Y'all want me to show you? The original tweet and the original right here. Can y'all see this? Now, bear with me. I don't usually do my videos like this. We'll go right to the Twitter. This is where the original tweet was. It's gone. Post unavailable. So, the day that stuff came out, I started doing a bit more research and thinking, right? Because in this thing, they named Pusha T, Drake. They also named Eminem. Keep that. And they said allegedly they did certain stuff, right? And also named Drake, right? Now, I got a lot of thoughts, so they're all coming out. And with the Jay-Z stuff, they said stuff that was happening in 1994 and 1996. 1994. Now, I know it's very easy when you think about Jay-Z to just think about the Jay-Z you know now, the powerful, the da-da-da-da-da. But Jay-Z in 1994 was nowhere near powerful, was nowhere near the person he is today. His first album came out in 1996. In 94, he barely had music. He was way more of a local artist than he was the giant international Jay-Z. In fact, a lot more people probably knew him as Jazzo's hype man. And you telling me they skipped past Jazzo, went right to him. Jay-Z was selling nicks and bags in the Marcy projects in 94 still. Emery went to jail in 97. They created Rockefeller in 96. You know why they created Rockefeller? Because Jay-Z couldn't get a record deal. Jay-Z didn't have enough clout. Jay-Z did not have enough staying or power to get anybody in the city or anywhere to sign him. You probably know people in your neighborhood who could get a record deal right now. So you want me to believe this same person who was selling what he was selling, Marshall Project, running around with was connected to some of the most powerful people in all, whether it's government or entertainment. You're telling me that he couldn't even get a deal with Universal Music. He couldn't get a deal with anybody, but he was next to Harvey Weinstein. It didn't make any sense to me. It did not make any sense to the story, right? I also found it weird that because there's apparently thousands, I think they said millions of pages of this Epstein documents, right? And instead of that, they're talking about this, right? And mind you, what a lot of these things come from are from unverified or unvalidated. Basically, what they're going from is this isn't the Epstein list. This is just phone calls that were made by a tip hotline by anybody who called in anonymously and said these things. So it's a little, and I feel like that's another reason why Kirko had to take it down, because they kind of were making it sound, and they're not the only ones, a lot of people were making it sound like this was the Epstein list. It's not. It's not. This is just anonymous tips. And mind you, this isn't me just because if some solid evidence or some solid anything comes down, I'm ready to nail anybody to the cross. I really am. I don't care how much you entertain me. Y'all know Jay is my favorite. I'm ready to nail you to the cross if any of that stuff is true. But the same way that I cannot, I want to acknowledge all victims. I want to respect that, and I want to not dismiss it. But that also means not to create victims in the process of that. So if I just believe what I read on paper and nothing else, then I would have to believe certain things. And if those weren't true, then I just victimize the people who are being lied on. People do have the right to just say, I don't know, or going off of just the timelines and the things, it's not enough for me to jump, right? Now, let me put this here. So, I tweeted this in 96. Am I seeing this right? The year's first album came out. And this is before I even knew they were saying stuff about 1994, right? Now, here's the part that I feel like a lot of people missed, right? And this is why I'm more talking about the inaccuracies and the things that don't really make sense, because I think people haven't done really any reading of this or vetting. People are saying, well, this is on the government website, so it's got to be true. No. And let's throw Jay-Z out of this, because Drake was also named in there. And y'all know my feelings about Drake, right? I'm going to show you something. Let's just use Drake, right? Because some of y'all think, oh, screw, just wait for a reason to dunk on Drake. Right, I said, I just reread Jay-Z. Okay, so basically everything I said. So this is what it says here. Justice.gov says, this production may include fake, falsely submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the production that is responsive to this act. One more time, this production may include fake or falsely submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the everything. So that means if you called that hotline and said anybody did anything involving this, it doesn't have to be verified. It could quite literally be false. They'll put it in there and they'll report it. It could quite literally be fake and they'll report it. So that's why it's very important to me that we speak about this and really think about it, because justice is justice for everybody. And at this point, all I'm saying is it's harder for me to believe what you're saying with the stuff that's presented in front of me. That's all. And we're going to get into the fact that y'all don't really care. A lot of y'all who are using this as dunk moments don't really care. Now, here's the thing. Now, let me get to the Drake part. Now, shout out to my boy Certified Boogeyman. And he tweeted this. Drake was named in the Epstein files. Well, in these logs, right? And everybody's thinking like, oh, screw, you about to drop ether on this nigga. No. And this is where I show you that this isn't about Stan Wars. And this is why I show, if you really watch my coverage of Drake, even when it comes to them lawsuits, please actually watch my videos. The steak lawsuits, anything that hit him. Every video, or damn near every video, I've said at least once, I don't know if these are real. I don't know if these are stick. I don't know how frivolous these are. Meaning that I'm not taking that as a truth just because it was said. Every time I talk about it, just the angling of the branding that it looks Drake and how ironic it looks towards Drake. But I'm not saying that, right? So this is what I said when they sent me this Drake stuff, because I got sent it a bunch, right? I had to just be real. I ain't gonna lie. I'm starting to think they know to throw rappers in there with invalidated claims that literally anyone could have made by calling into a hotline anonymously, because they know it will muddy the waters, making it harder to discern what is real or not. And they know we'll talk about that more. We'll talk about the entertainers more, distracting from the people in real positions of power like the government who really did this. I ain't even going to use this as a gotcha moment. And this is why Stan Wars, I'm not going to use, because people were expecting me to use this as a gotcha. Let's get Drake out of here. Come on. Let's do it. No. There needs to be some system of verification going on before we crucify anyone, including Drake. This needs to be about finding justice for the victims or for the people getting wrongfully named, because then they would be victims also. Not dunking on rappers that you hate or protecting ones you love. Y'all gonna need more than this before I start looking at anyone different. And this was about Drake. Period. People keep saying that AI is gonna ruin the world. It's gonna be Stan Wars. Y'all worried about, nah. Once these motherfuckers start doing terrorist acts for their favorite rappers and singers, yeah, this is starting to get to a point where we go like, bro, I'm not finna just say this is true on Drake just because it was written in black and white. That's. And here's another reason why. Okay, now let me pull up before we even get to this what this really is. Lauren LaRosa, my girl, brown girl grinding. She breaks down what actually is happening because a lot of misinformation is being shared online. A lot. And this is why it is dangerous to give some people certain platforms. That's why I'm using this video to just put this information out. She said, here's what's most important to know about the Jay-Z Pusha T Epstein reporting that are buried in most coverage, but should be the headlines. 1, the mention of Jay-Z and Pusha T did not come from Epstein's personal records at all. Didn't even come from anything that was corroborated or verified by law enforcement. So anybody who tried to say that Drake, Jay-Z, Pusha, or Eminem on the Epstein list, you know what they're doing. They don't care about no real victims. You know what bothers me the most? Is that we have emails, phone calls, pictures, videos of people who have actual relationships with Epstein, who their timelines make perfect sense. And here's the kicker. We have living victims who have been speaking and never said anything about these people. Nobody cares about them, though. Nobody cares about who they saying and what they saying. And y'all believe all of it. We have living victims giving their testimonies, and this trumps that. Ironic. Jay-Z and Pusha T were named in a tip via hotline to the FBI. This is uncorroborated claim, could come from anyone at any time via this hotline. These claims were never they're not investigated, not corroborated, no evidence, nothing. And this is why I find it very dangerous in a world where just an accusation is enough to crucify somebody. The statement, believe all victims, I feel like, because even I had to get educated what it really means, right? Because when you hear believe all victims, you hear it the way most people hear. What believe all victims means is take all victims serious. Do not dismiss all victims. I do find it a little weird for the average person to use the term believe instead of just say respect all victims, take all victims seriously, don't dismiss victims, really look into what they're saying first. But because when you say believe, right, and what you're asking to be believed is somebody was victimized by SA, then when you're saying believe the person who's accusing the other person, then you have to believe that other person did that thing. So that's where the word believe comes in. It really means respect. Do the research. Make sure that person didn't do that. Investigate that person. And if they did, roof them. But that's where I think the miscommunication comes in. I think the term is a noble term. I just think it's the one word believe is what's spinning people around. I understand what they mean by it, though. But that's what I mean by that. Because at this point, if we can, this is all it takes for you to believe Eminem, Drake, Jay-Z, and Pusha T did this, we're starting to get into dangerous territory, especially with like AI and stuff. Because if it's like a real victim, if it's like a person, right? And I'm not saying that, calls to the FBI and stuff, but I just need more than that. That's all. And I don't think that's too crazy to ask for. And I don't care if it's my worst enemy. I don't care if it's Tekashi 6ix9ine. I don't care if it's academics. I saw what academics did on camera. That's the difference. Anyway, Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z's album had just dropped in June of 96. So, yeah, the reports that mentioned Jay-Z and Pusha T also mentioned AG Barr, that was the AG in 1994. He wasn't. He served from 1991 to 1993 as Attorney General. So there's literally a lie in it already. A provable lie. So I didn't mean for this video to be this long. Let me go to homie Charles Brown's page because he said some real stuff, right? So, you know, a little bit conspiracy theory ism here, but hey. So right after Pusha T said F-Ice, he all of a sudden is named in the Epstein list. Okay, just for the conspiracies out there. All right. Now, he Googled, or he used Grok. I'm not, but he said for the actual answers, look here. Based on checks from the official DOJ release and report from NBC, CBS, BBC, all of them, there's no mention of Pusha T or Jay-Z in the documents. Social media posts claiming them seem verified and based on rumors. It's according to Grok. He says, oh, here's the one I wanted to read. Here's the one. There are millions of Epstein documents, millions of references to people other than Jay-Z, Pusha T, directly emailing, having conversations with Epstein. Millions of people that, and I'm going to throw Drake in there too, that unequivocally are tied to him hundreds of times. Politicians, entertainers, businessmen. There's literally one document from an anonymous caller deemed not the people who are posting and say it's not credible, by the way. Naming Jay-Z and Pusha T at the lowest point of their careers, but guess what people want to talk about? Not the president or the actual rich white guys who have tied to Epstein. Nope. They want to talk about Pusha T and Jay-Z. They're deflecting and you're being deflected, but you don't care. Watch the comments that come under this post. He's 100%, 1,000,000% right. And I find it ironic. I tweeted this too. I find it ironic that amongst all of this, with the stuff that we've seen that's been verified, with the living with victims, with all of this stuff that we see, with the thousands of pages that come out, with the pictures, we get one page of anonymous, unverified stuff that even the government that posted it says, these could be fake. They're not verified. We didn't investigate these. There's literally no evidence. There was not a police officer put to any of this. We're just posting what they said. I find it funny how the conversation becomes about the black rappers. And notice I said black rappers because Eminem was named in this too. And I'm saying the same thing I'm saying for all of them for Eminem. I'm not saying Eminem is 100% did it. I'm saying the same thing I'm saying for Eminem. But I find it ironic that when you go look at these conversations online, tell me how many times Eminem's name gets brought up. Tell me how many posts are pictures of Pusha T and Jay-Z. And then Drake too. Y'all find that ironic? I wanted to say they just don't like rappers. Then I realized when Eminem, I didn't even know Eminem was named in it until later on I went, oh, I see what this is. Oh, I see what this, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Now, if anything solid comes through, if anything more than this, and solid doesn't mean I have to see a smoking gun. I have to, anything, but my burden of proof has to be higher than this. It has to. I don't care what that makes you feel like. Burden of proof has to be more than this. If it's it could be anything more than this. It could be, give me a person who gave me, because remember, Tony Busby tried to do this exact same thing to Jay with a real person. And they came out to not be telling the truth. Their stories didn't make sense. So if you could do that with a real person, I need more than just some unverified text on a piece of paper that even the people posting said, hey, this shit could be fake. So that's all. That's all. I'm not looking at anybody different from this yet. I'm not looking at Drake any different. It's still Hove. I don't give a damn how you feel about that. I'm going to be listening to Drug Dealers Anonymous right after this. That's how it is. If anything else comes out, something a little bit more solid than what they're literally telling us, hey, you should probably, the government's telling you to take it with a grain of salt. So I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. You feel me? And that goes for Drake too. So anybody diss Drake and says that boy was on the Epstein list, I'm going to correct them, right? If you said he was on stage tonguing down something way too young, all right, there was a video of that. But I'm not going to sit here and do the Epstein joint. You know what I mean? So we'll find out. We'll see. This smells like a smokescreen and a distraction, so people don't talk about Trump and Elon. But anyway, I can't end this video without saying niggas couldn't do nothing with me. They put the devil on me. I'd have preferred niggas to squeeze the metal on me. Rumors of Lucifer. I don't know who to trust. Whole world want my demise. Turn the music up. Hear me clearly. If y'all niggas fear me, just say y'all fear me. F all these fairy tales. Go to hell. This is God engineering. This is a Hail Mary pass. Y'all interfering. He without sin shall cast the first stone, so y'all look in the mirror, double check y'all appearance. I said I was amazing. Not that I'm a Mason, it's amazing that I made it through the maze that I was in. Lord, forgive me, I never could have made it without sin. Holy water my face in the basin. Diamonds in my rosary shows he forgave him. Bitch, I'm red hot. I'm on my third six, but a devil I'm not. My Jesus piece flooded, but thou shalt not covet. Keep your eyes on my covet. I'm a bad motherfucker. It's Hova, just say you love it. Pay attention.